Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Student, and today we will be playing a set with a top 8 finalist by the name of Perfeccion. For those who doesn't know, he placed top 8 at CEO, if I'm not mistaken. Very strong player. We will be playing a first to 5. Now, we've played a few sets already. We played 2 first to 3s. I will also be trying out Piccolo B for this set. As always, I'll try to list my thoughts down, but no promises this time because I will be pressed against the wall. So not only is this the time to rub out those rough edges, this is also the time to work on commentary, identifying habits, neutral structures, and such as well. Just an overall time to fully test out our strategy and our philosophies and ideas. They're playing the blue shell with Cell. Very strong point. Gogeta has a 4, okay. Gogeta has a 11 frame 2M and also so yeah, we'll pull up Vegito, we'll pull up Gogeta, and we'll also pull up Cell as well, since this is who we will be competing against today. That 5L is probably the biggest problem. It's very far advancing. 11 frame 5M and the 2M as well. I don't know. 2M is 12 frames. That's very fast. I don't know if 2M is good enough or is long enough in order to reach from round start. So right now we'll be mostly focusing on the 2M, but it is good that 21 does have the 10 frame 5M. So that's my counter option if I identify that they are pushing us, and I want to try to cover that space as well and show that I'm willing to attack as opposed to defend. If I want to defend, but acknowledge that another frame data, I'll use barrier instead, but I have to commit to an assist to cover myself and it can be called out. So these are different things to consider. In the beginning of every game, I want to show that I'm willing to take space, but I also want to try to set myself up for a whip punish without giving up the ground too much. I don't want to show early that I'm willing to give up the ground. The ground is very important, I believe. So we'll be starting off this game with a dash forward and an assist call. I think this is one of the safest ways to get into a game, but it's kind of tight, especially when you're dealing with these quicker assists. Now we were able to get in, they jumped over us, and then they used that Vegito call. So it's important to try to, maintain your ground. Right there, I tried to lariat the, I wanted to use the vertical spinner to stop some air dash pressure, but they just went ahead and called the assist. And because I committed to a button against a grounded button, we were able to get hit by that Cell assist. Now here in this situation, we ended up, they went for the 2H, and I thought they were going to try to use the assist to go into a 50-50. Gogeta recovers in the air, so he's able to do an air dash or try to stay low. They went ahead for covering the reflect with the additional instant air dash. And now I want to show I'm willing to give up the ground. And this time we got opened up due to the pressure. So right now, this is probably going to go into the Vegito. I do a little option select there. I like to hold Super Dash. Wow. I like to hold Super Dash, and I like to hold Special and jump the Vegito, and I like to jump towards the side where they do same side for that interaction that happened to us right there. He hits us with the cross up, but I get knocked away as opposed to them getting a full combo. I noticed in the corner, we've had some interactions where I actually ended up still getting hit by the 5M. So Vegito's still able to convert in certain areas and locations. Very willing to push. Broly is a bit taller, so even the air lariat still hits me on the ground. Just something to be aware of. It is very 2Hable and such as well. That's actually a true punish. He's not able to do... he has to gel into Vanish, but that move doesn't gel in Vanish. Instead, there is a slight gap, which they're able to perfect attack. So any move that doesn't gel directly into Vanish, you're always able to use some form of frame 1 anti-air in order to punish, and that's good matchup knowledge from them. This is my mom. This is the person who makes all the student shirts. Today's her birthday. Say happy birthday, everyone. We're recording this on my mother's birthday. Yes, one of our biggest supporters. Wouldn't be able to do it without them. Right now, I'm willing to show that I'm willing to give up the air here. All right. Now I just wanted to fuzzy jump out. It's important to block out the staggers. I was a little like impatient right there. I tried fuzzy jumping really early in the string because I didn't want to give any additional pressure. But honestly speaking, it's more dangerous to try to jump out because again we get put into a situation where we get two touch like this. So the goal is to get out of the goal is to wait out the stagger. So right there, we actually could have done the frame one anti-air that happened last game to us, to Broly. Right now, we're going to bring in Piccolo, and we're going to go for our level 3 mix-up. We have a left-right. It is fuzzyable. You can block left-right. Wow, they chose to call it out. You have to actually guess the correct direction in order to DP the correct way. So that was a big little call-out from them. Yeah, it's really dangerous to try to contest Cell in the air. He does have that A frame 1 anti-air. I don't think this level 3 is going to be able to kill us, but just trying to show the DP. That spark bait was a bit obvious, but because of the situation we're in, I'm not too afraid. They don't have their assist. They like to do now normally they hit the 6M, but they still chose to back off and I-80 in. I was expecting them just to take their turn, but it's not like anything too direct. It's just we do need to show that we're willing to lariat, especially through the projectile like that. We can't allow them to do it too much and have too much of our mental stack. And just again, I need to be able to cancel into 2H there effectively. No assist. That's a call out on backdash. It's important to show that to Vegetos or they will start to I was a little high, so I wasn't able to have my plus frames right there. You want to vanish fast enough. You want to vanish fast enough to where you hit them, so you're still plus, but there are cases if you do it too slow, you'll end up being minus instead. And again, it's just I up-teched. They're able to bring me back down to the ground with that instant air dash setup. And I think it's tight enough to where you're not able to walk under as well. No, I lariat last time, so we're just showing something different. And they're able to make that safe. Just fuzzy jumping with the key blast in order to let's spend it. Let's spend it. It's probably better not to spend it, but just whittling down the options. They still have a DP, but I have a safe jump. So we want to show the safe jump first, and that allows us to do more things in the future. Again, very willing to just IAD. I wanted to try to be a bit safer after landing. I just wanted to land and get back down to the ground. They pressured us immediately with an overhead. You just gotta, either you decide to block it out or you decide to contest or something of the sort. We could have tried the lariat to reset the situation or just put ourselves in a different spacing, make it a bit awkward to try to gel us into pressure. But again, honestly, I just feel like it's a bit more inconsistent to try to go along about it that way. So I just opted to go ahead and land. Honestly, I would continue to do that. In that scenario, we're already so far down that I don't really ultimately think it matters what happens so far down like that. So right there, I wanted to, we did the RPS right, but they, I wanted to reflect and then stop the rest of the pressure. We'll go into Piccolo here. It's fine. You don't get anything crazy, just some standard pressure. I noticed that they were the red X. I'll try to have Lizard King zoom in on it. Is something to look for. If you see that red X, you know your opponent is trying to tag. So I backed off and we're able to get a touch of death from here. I actually don't think we'll be able to kill, but I'm going to go into Broly first, and then 21 since they do the most damage on my team. But yeah, this is going to be a little short. I need a little more meter. Slow on tech. You know, it's pretty common for Dragon Ball players to go for like one of the system mechanics and then immediately go for the next one. Like it's just something. It's just a little thing we do. I mean, granted it's Vegito, so they're more likely to go for system mechanics anyway. That's how they really push it. But yeah, that was one of the downsides to having the barrier assist. Since I already had 21 assists up, if I had the A assist, we would have been able to kill in that scenario. But unfortunately, not in this one. We find ourselves down. And right there, I actually just wanted to... We just called out the stagger time that time. Normally, I've been respecting it every time, so it's always good just to mix up our options and show we're willing to do different things on defense. I think we jumped a little bit too much. I wanted to jump away and then I tried to jump in, but after giving up the ground so much, I wanted to put myself back on the ground. Now they're willing to just do the Lariat one and then, you know, wait, call an assist. If you respect it, you get put into the 50-50. So it's favorable RPS for them to do it. And granted, even if they do the Lariat one and I try to do like a guard cancel or something like that, if they're fast enough. Now, honestly, I should have guard cancel vanish because I didn't have any meter to be able to vanish back. Just a bit of a deer in headlights in that scenario. You know, I was trying to hold it because I didn't want to... Maybe I should have gone for a level 3. I thought I might have been able to kill without committing too many resources. But I don't think it was a bad idea to go for a level 3 right there. I think I did a little bit too much nothing in that scenario. I didn't push any kind of advantage. I just kind of sat there and watched them. I kind of was afraid to put on barrier. I wanted to make sure I was up so I could react to like a super dash or something. And they were so high in the air. And Cell, he can only control space with beam, so it's more obvious for him to shoot a beam. So yeah, I just kind of scared myself out of trying to do something. Broly's game plan, especially solo, is just to create an advantage, and then from said advantage, you want to put on your barrier. So that's how we were able to just play it safe, try to get some solid pressure, and as a result, we were able to get something started. Very impatient of them. This is something a bit new. Normally we go for Piccolo's, well, this time I messed up the Tiger Knee that time. They went for an immediate cross-up. I mean, that makes sense. Being that they're on the opposite side of us, we're no longer able to RPS in the same way. Just a way to try to put things back into their favor. Okay, so they still are able to backdash even though they hit the barrier. I was under the impression they would have just have the additional landing recovery and they wouldn't be able to do much. Maybe they collided with Piccolo. That's the only thing that I can think of. No, I tried to backdash and press a button to like take my turn that time. I was counter hit by the second hit of the auto combo. That's something we should try to lab. I know there are some auto combos that are able to punish the backdash, at least if you try to contest afterwards. So it's just, you know, that's just an area where After backdash, taking your turn in a certain way is what's required. And again, they jumped out. They started offense immediately. What a strong way to start offense as well. They're able to get an instant air dash after threatening left right as well. Actually, from the range they were at, maybe they need to do a little bit more in order to threaten left right properly. Yeah, just another thing we should look into. That was our anti-reflect string right there. We actually get a punish there. That's 0. They didn't have any meter to punish. Maybe I might be over-respecting DP. And reflect tag coming out immediately. Especially in that scenario right there, it's kind of a nod to them respecting our pressure. I tried to fuzzy jump with the key blast just to kind of protect our space as we were getting out, and we ended up getting punished here. Luckily, they don't have enough to kill it all. They were able to sneak in an instant air dash there. I wasn't fuzzy jumping. Cell has like 3 lows. Even from that range, though, I don't think he would have been able to connect 3H or something like that. So yeah, just a little bit of matchup knowledge, not being aware enough in that scenario, letting the pressure get to me. So yes, like we were talking about, just wanted to write it down right here. I hope you guys got your notebooks. So yes, we want to go Spanish, back, dash, options. All right, we have it written down as something that we should look for. Doing live commentary is a bit harder to be as aware and on top of things, but a good way, a good reason, or a trade-off for a benefit to playing more minimalistic styles is that since you don't commit to much, when you do commit, it's easier to keep track of what you decided to commit to, and you can look at your options in those moments and see what else you could have committed to. So just a little bonus to trying to play conscious. And I mean, that doesn't mean like play slow by any means. Just commit when you think it's right, just so it's easier for you to go back and reevaluate how to do things later. Now right there, I'm just trying to dash, but I'm missing the dash macro slightly and getting super dash. A little hard. Just try to control some space right there. They were willing to super dash. I tried to just hit it out of timing. That time the fuzzy jump was successful. Actually could have gone into Piccolo meterlessly here. That was a great. If that was intentional, that was a great adjustment. It looks like they showed me the X and then called the assist instead. And I got hit out of the surprise from not seeing the tag instead. Okay, good stuff on there. Again, just we've already talked about that scenario. That's something that we need to look into. Immediately, I know I can jump, but I would prefer to keep the ground if I can. So maybe backdashing twice, but I wouldn't want to commit to all that if I could help it. It's interesting that Cell's perfect attack is able to cover the distance from a backdash as well. And that was a bit of an inconsistent tag in the first place. There's definitely better ways. This time we showed we were willing to This time we didn't block it out. We tried to call out them calling out our dash. Again, that just left us open to being hit that time by something immediate. They've just been doing jab jab because I mean it's covering an initial and it's covering post backdash as well. So it's coming off as a strong option at the moment since I haven't shown anything to be able to beat it. I was trying to look for call it that time sparking, but we were not able to successfully they're fuzzy jumping a lot. They give up the ground a lot with Vegito, but we haven't put ourselves in a position to really take advantage of that. But yeah, they like to jump in the air and then use EX legs in order to call an assist and kind of make something happen. Since if they do it off of a single jump, they're not, they still have to double jump as such, so they can really try to make a strong situation out of it. That's, again, I tried to call out the stagger that time. Really just patience. There's no point in really trying to call out a stagger. All it's doing is just leaving you open to lose the game. Staggers are too fast. You're not going to be able to call them out. And the most you can do is try to force respect with a reflect. So yeah, it's either reflect, jump out. Those are like the most consistent options. Mid screen, maybe backdash, but again, that's more character specific depending on how far advancing the normals that they're using are. That was the first of 5. They were able to get that 5-0. And yes, just going through our past match history as well, they were able to beat us every single time as well. But when we were playing, I definitely feel like there's just a couple of key interactions that I'm missing to really be able to compete and make things look a lot more competitive. So yes, I mean at the moment it is what it is. We're getting blown out the water, but definitely things like this open up past growth as well. So maybe in the future we can even look at some of these games and try to go through them one by one. We're going to start doing a match analysis and such on the channel as well. Not only my own, but people on Patreon, they'll be sending in their own matches and such for us to review. So we'll start to become more conscious about just what it is we're doing and how it is that we're interacting with these things. And because we're putting focus towards what it is we're doing and we're putting more attention to these things, we can start to go to the lab, develop more questions that we'll write down on our notepad, and then answer these questions one by one. And before we know it, once we stop asking questions, in theory, we'll be ready to go. Well, you always should have some questions to ask. If you're having trouble finding questions, maybe it's time to go to a tournament, try to record your footage, and then watch that footage, and then I'm sure you'll come up with some questions then. If not, you can always go to other people and try to get help as well. So big thanks to Perfeccion. I appreciate them letting us record the games. That's going to be it for me, you guys. Never stop learning.
We're never done learning. It's never over.